Okay, slightly different angle today, but we're going to explain why in a bit. So normally you see me from like this way with my other books, but today we're going to do a video with my reference books in the background, not because I want to show off my awesome commentary collection or anything like that, and it's really not that awesome, but because today's book is Literary Forms in the New Testament by James L. Bailey and Lyle D. Vander. As you can see, and I'll show you the thing, there's no notes in this. Why? Because when I picked up this book, it just kind of, the title interested me because I was a general Bible study student and I was in Bible college, and it was a book about the Bible, and it was in a free pile. I think it was in a free pile probably, or something like that. So I'm like, yes, I'm going to take this. And you know what? It's a great little book about all the different literary forms, but not really applicable to all the reading and writing processes that I do. When especially when it goes to talking about just kind of like how theology and technology work together, or some of like the fiction projects I work on. But I kept it still. I like this book, and one of the reasons I like it is because it's very informative, and that's why we switched our backgrounds. Because as a writer, especially someone who deals with nonfiction, you're going to need informative books, and that's what all these guys are. I have a really nice commentary set. A couple of them actually. Pulpit, Holman's, Barclay, Interpreters, and this 5-volume set from James Vernon McGee. And if you know who that is, we can be friends because he's awesome. And a bunch of like one-offs and stuff like that. And then, Bible dictionaries and word study guides, all sorts of stuff. The reason I have all that stuff as a Christian writer is because as you interact with the Bible and all the things that kind of interact with the Bible as books themselves, you get into this thing, I believe the proper term is like the canon of Christian literature and stuff like that. And it has very kind of like nebulous, kind of spidery webs out into other different books and whatnot. But having reference material is important as a writer because it really does tie you back into it. And that's what this book is great for, because it gives you a reference for certain things in the New Testament, the different kind of styles of literature between the Gospels and the letters and household codes and codes and apocryphal stuff, like all that kind of thing. That's what this book talks about. And you don't know that stuff unless you read it. And if you don't have access to that kind of material, or you don't appreciate it because it doesn't directly apply to what you're trying to write. My library would be tiny if I only kept books that directly applied to what I want to write about. Like I want to write about technology and the internet and faith. And there are so few books written about that. I would have like 100 books total in my entire library, where and my knowledge would be that much smaller. But reading a book like this helps expand your knowledge so that you have that basis in order to connect with certain topics later on. Like maybe I don't have anything in this now, but I know now the different literary forms of the New Testament that allow me to kind of like reference that point. It's just basic knowledge building, and building knowledge in the things that you're interested in is not just like grabbing all the books that are related. It's tangential, I think is the word you're looking for. It's getting books that are about the books that you like. It's not just reading Tolkien, it's reading the books that Tolkien read to understand Lord of the Rings just a little bit more deeply, so that you can write books like the Lord of the Rings. That kind of idea. So I want to write good books about Christianity, theology, and the internet and technology, which means my reading habits kind of go all over the place. And this is a great book. Not a very high reference book. We got no cards out of it, but a great book to help give you that kind of like baseline kind of reference material that you need. And it's something that all writers need to have. So we're going to spin around to my desk here. Where I do my writing at work is kind of flanked by kind of like my processing. Like these are books that I've read that I'm going to get note cards for. And like here are the note cards and stuff like that we printed off. But what's flanked with it is, like mechanical guides for what writing is all about. I have a dictionary and a thesaurus, and different dictionaries of idioms and commonly misspelled words and stuff like that I reference all the time, as well as biblical word study guides like concordances and dictionaries of biblical words, along with meanings in Hebrews and Greeks, and like a lexicon of the Greek lexicon of the New Testament and other early Christian works. That kind of stuff is like the basis for a lot of Christian writing. And that's important. So like when you get to books like this, and it was a great read from like an academic standpoint, you're gonna have books as a writer that are just pure reference, and you keep them because you need to have that. You don't want that knowledge stuck in your brain. You need that knowledge on the shelf ready to go. This goes back to that idea that we talked about with David Allen's book that we did a review on, that your brain is for having ideas, not for holding ideas. Well, these are the ideas that you want to hold. You want to hold these on a bookshelf. So this was a fantastic book for what it does, but like I showed you, it's not a book that has like a lot of value directly as quotes or kind of like idea nuggets that I'm going to put into other books. It's purely a reference book, and it was a joy to read. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. If you do find it, pick it up. I've seen this in Value Village, oddly enough, more times than not. So it's definitely like a common book that Christians tend to catch. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's like an introductory book for, a lot of Bible colleges, and we have like 3 or 4 in Edmonton, so that might explain why. But yeah, so check it out. Literary Forms in the New Testament by James Bailey and Lyle D. Vander. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.